GOGI, GOGI. Learn GOGI tools, real lessons to live by.
You got family there?
I do. I'm visiting family right now, and this coach, this is like my second mom. She has been with me for like mom to me. This is Aunt Peggy.
Hi, Aunt Peggy.
Hi, Coach Taylor.
How are you, Aunt Peggy?
Well, pretty good. It's just my husband that's really ill.
Well, I'm happy you have Papa Coach there to keep your spirits up then.
Absolutely. I really, really depend on him.
I love that. We all depend on him. He's a good person to depend on. He's very reliable and you can trust him. Well,
Yes.
I do hope your husband gets better. I do hope that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, hon. Nice meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you.
I'll tell you all about Coach Taylor when we're done. We're just going to meet for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what was the biggest challenge when you got out and they let you out? What was the biggest challenge for you?
It's still a challenge. The biggest challenge, and it hasn't gone away yet. It's time, the perspective of time.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna turn off my phone. I'm gonna cancel it and let's see if we can get you on the Zoom. Okay. Now let's see if I can hear you. I cannot hear. There we go.
Is that better?
That is so much better. That's really clear. That's wonderful. So you get out and the biggest challenge for you is time and the perspective of time. What do you mean by that?
Well, just think about inside. There were only so many things that were noteworthy or remarkable or memorable that happened inside. You know, you get a visit once in a while because I was far away. You go to canteen once a month. You might be looking forward to a package once every 90 days, or a food sale or something like that. But really memorable things that you want to enjoy and cherish, are very few and far between. And since I got out, from the very first day, I noticed that, man, I have so many things that I want to completely embrace and be absorbed in experiences wise, that how can I do that? Because they're coming one moment after the next. Every single second there's something new that I want to get the complete experience of. It's no space. There's no time in between those things.
So what's your advice to anyone who might be watching this and they are going to be facing the same things that you're facing? What is your advice?
Well, one of those things is, I've just had to use my tools.
Oh, yes. And
I've had to stay boss of my brain.
Yeah.
I've had to remind myself that I'm the boss of my brain, and I've had to use my belly breathing and my 5-second light switch. I've had to figure out ways to slow everything down. And sometimes that's meant just taking time for myself, making the decision to pull away from everything that's going on and say, man, I gotta process this, because getting some space from it. So I guess we're using forgive right there, right? When we get some space from whatever's happening, we're using the tool forgive, because those experiences, they could be overwhelming.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm still going through that. I go into certain stores. We went into Costco, and the first time I went into Costco, I thought I had an idea about what I wanted to purchase. And I went into the store with some friends and I thought, okay, I know what I want. But we went to that first item that I thought I wanted until I seen the selection of what I wanted. And I couldn't decide. I couldn't make a choice. They just, the first day we were in Walmart with family, and they wanted, and I had, well, there were 20 people waiting for me outside the front gate of San Quentin. And then everyone wanted to give me something and support me some way all at the same time. And I thought, man, this is great, until it was time to decide who was going to do what and how and what I was going to get. And I couldn't choose. It wore me out with trying to figure out, making a positive choice was something I wasn't able to do. And as a boss of my brain, I just had to say, man, okay, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to process this.
Right. Yeah. What do you think about the place you left behind? I mean, you were with some of your guys for a very long time, What does that make you feel? How are you processing that?
So I'm still involved with a lot of them. I haven't connected or reconnected with all of them yet, but I am connected with many of them, and I'm doing my best. It's kind of a struggle to find time to be able to do that with all the demands out here. But I'm hopeful for those guys.
Right.
I know that this has happened for me, that what everything that we believed, everything that we've done, and they're still in that process. It just means that their time just hasn't come yet, but it's coming.
Right.
It's the same thing that happened for me is going to happen for them.
Talk to me about the process. You weren't always headed home.
Oh, when I first met you, I was not yet headed home.
Well, I was hopeful.
Well,
Tell me about what do you remember about when we first met, and when did it click for you that, wow, I could be a solution. I could be on my way home. Talk to me about what that experience was like for you.
Well, so after meeting you, and I don't know if I ever told you this, but that was a really dark and troubling time for me personally. I was at a crossroads, and I had been questioning my faith. I had been questioning the possibility of ever getting myself out of prison, out of the shoe, all those things. And the day you showed up, I was in the midst of pretty much a crisis. And when you said, we want you to be a part of GOGI, and here's your first book, and just the joy and the cheer that you brought into my life at that point, I thought, man, this is something that I need more of that in my life. And to me, I still look at you as like an angel sent from God, because I had been praying for that. I had been praying for that, and I didn't see it until, I tried to read the Bible. I tried to read the word, and none of it made sense to me, because I was by myself, and I felt like I didn't have anybody to help me or show me or teach me what I was reading and how to interpret it, how to make sense of it. And it was confusing until you showed up with that book. And when I went back to my cell with that book and I started reading it, nobody in the whole section where I lived would even talk to me, because I had been moved there from the short corridor of Pelican Bay, where everybody knows everybody. And they knew that I had just checked out of that scene into this scene. So nobody would talk to me. I was alone. And you with that book, to me, still is like an angel sent from God, because I understood. And the first book was the Daily Dose, Tools of the Body. And so I needed that, and I latched onto it. I started every day. I was in that book for the 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever it was that I could write in that book. And it made sense. It made perfect sense to me. And that got me through that. And then I got the next book, and things were improving. And I got moved to a section where there was more people situated like me. And I got the next book. And so 2 or 3 of those Daily Dose books in, I was talking to people that we were on the same path, and we decided to start having meetings. We started having GOGI meetings on the tier. And I think we sent all that stuff to you guys at the mailroom that, hey, we're doing GOGI meetings. And back then we weren't getting time together because we're still in the shoe. but we were passing the slip of paper around and writing our comments and our feedback, and we were sharing it just like we did communicated with everything else. We're doing the meeting on paper, and we didn't know if that would be acceptable, if that would work, but it was working for us, and that's really all that mattered.
I
Learning
love
the
hearing
tools,
that. You know, in the
sharing
end, you turned out to be an angel in many, many people's lives.
well, that's what we do, right? That's what the GOGI tools. We're not gonna withhold these from anybody. Angel wouldn't do that.
Right, right, right.
Nobody else would even talk to me, but you brought me the best thing, one of the best things that could ever happen, right? And so the reason I refer to you as angel, because I said I had been praying for a relationship with God, and I wasn't getting it just from the word alone until you came and brought me GOGI. Later on, when I got transferred out of Pelican Bay to Kern Valley, it was the transitional housing unit, THU.
That was a dismal unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dismal. I mean, the short corridor was even more appealing than that particular unit at KVSP. That was sad.
Yeah, and there, so I was at a point where I was like, man, am I doing the right thing? Because I began to question myself whether or not I was doing right by my faith, if I was doing something against my faith with GOGI. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. And some people say so, some people said no. I didn't really know. So I took it upon myself to, while I was in that THU unit there, to say, you know what, I'm gonna find out. And so I got the GOGI tools right here, and I got the Bible right here, and I was able to make a connection directly from the word to each Bible tool, to where I finally I said, you know what, I'm not doing anything. Every single tool here supports everything that I believe in. Everything that's meaningful to me in life is supporting of every single GOGI tool. And man, and that's when I knew, oh, Coach Taylor was an angel sent from God, because it all connects.
Beautiful. I
It
love
all
hearing that.
connects.
At what point did you say, I'm going home? I'm going home. When was that moment, and what was that like when you truly, in your body, in your heart, your mind, your soul, you knew, I'm going home?
I can't really pinpoint a time when I knew, when I was convinced that I was going home. It was somewhere after that. Somewhere after that, I knew I was going to do everything I could to put myself in that position. And you continued to help reinforce that when you connected with family. And I think you posted something back then. Facebook was really new or something, and you posted something about advocating for my release, pretty much saying, go, yeah, when are you coming home? And I started thinking those terms. And I even remember, so I wrote you a letter asking for a reference. I asked you for a reference for me to be accepted into a program in prison to give me a better job, better status, and a good pay number in jail. And you didn't give me that reference. What you gave me was a support letter to take to the board to send me home. And I was so blown away by that. I go, man, what am I am thinking small potatoes. This is small potatoes. What am I trying to get a prison job for? And the letter I asked Coach for ends up being a letter to the board to say, hey, you need to send this guy home. He's done. He's done with his time. He's going to make a great coach in the community. And that's when I started to buy into the idea. I still didn't know. I didn't have it in my bones yet.
Right.
But I was starting to think that way.
Mm-hmm. But in the housing unit where you were about that time, that was a GOGI housing unit. I mean, you had nearly everybody engaged, and even those that weren't sitting in on your meetings were talking GOGI. It was really like a GOGI campus. How did you do that from having everybody kind of ostracize you, they don't know who you are, to now you got the name Papa Coach, you know? How did you go from one extreme to the other. And why I ask is there are a lot of people who feel like, nah, it's a done deal. I charted the course. I had no choice. My life is my life. I'm just going to play this out to the end. I can't be different. Here you are. You probably thought that way back at Pelican Bay, that this is my life. This is my life. And then now you're Papa Coach and you have people waiting at the gate to shower you with love and support, and how would you recommend that someone come to that belief in themselves, that they can be the best version of them and have everything in their life shift?
Well, so part of it was absolute faith. That's a part of it. The other part of it was the tools, clinging onto those tools from those early days at the darkest point, what helped me turn a lot of stuff around, helped me understand my relationship with God, helped me understand my spirituality and the Bible and all the meaningful and purposeful things, right? And using those tools over and over, I think, and I'm guessing right now because I can't say I have an absolute recipe or blueprint, but what I know is that using those tools every day in my life and sharing those tools with other people have told me since then that, you know what, I look to you as a model. I watch you. Many people have told me, I watch you when you probably don't even know I'm watching you. I'm watching you because I want that same thing. And that same thing happens to be faith. It happens to be the GOGI tools. It happens to be the attitude that comes from those things and living those things daily. And that's the only thing I can recommend is you have to do it. You have to try it. You have to live it. If you can do that, then everything else falls into place. Everything that's really all it was about. And then getting the satisfaction from helping somebody internalize the tools when they start working for them, man, there's such a reward and a payoff for that people, I never knew it existed. But that's sort of the same thing I used to seek in my criminality and my addiction. That payoff, that reward, was what I was chasing. What I was chasing when I was doing crime. I wanted that feeling, because that feeling is, man, I'm unstoppable. I'm strong. I'm committed. I'm confident. I can do almost anything when I'm in that mode. And I want more of that in my life. And that comes from service. That comes from being ultimately free. That's the only way I could suggest. I wish I could put it in a bottle and put a cap on it and be able to put a label on the front of it and say, hey, this is it. But it's a combination of all those things.
Beautiful. There was one time that I came into your facility, KVSP, and your whole yard was locked down. And I just knew you needed a little bit of a nudge. I knew you needed something. So I went to the captain and I said, I've got a leader and I really need to see him. And he actually provided us with an escort and took us into your unit. I don't know if you know how hard we fought to get in there to see you.
I suspect. I did. No one told me that at the time. But you brought a whole bunch of books, and I didn't know you guys were coming, and I had other commitments. There was people waiting for me in the chapel, and I wish I could have spent more time getting that together. But you know what did happen as a result of that meeting, and thank you for that, because that meeting that day changed a lot of things. The amount of books that you brought, they allowed me to have a space in the building in one of the mop closets or storage rooms or something to store the books. And everybody in the building wanted to be hooked up. Everybody wanted to be involved with GOGI. And so we got so many people signing up for a group and then that transferred to another building as a result of that, because I didn't stay in that building very long. I moved to another building and they did the same thing. The staff got on board. That was an awesome thing. And it was during a time too when our ILTAC group was ending for some reason. I think the grant ended or something. And so, man, that was an awesome day.
Wonderful. I'm so happy. Sometimes you get those little bits of inspiration where you think, no can't mean no right now. No means gotta find another way right now. So I'm happy that we stuck to it and kind of pushed and made phone calls and other phone calls and trying to find an escort and taking in all the books. It was a little disturbing for custody because they don't like those unusual occurrences, but I'm so happy they accommodated us. And I'm really happy to hear that custody after we left was accommodating your efforts. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's in store for you now? I haven't talked to you since you got out. When I was told, oh, he's coming out on this day. Nah, don't have him call me just yet, because I knew it would just like be a bombardment. So this is the first time we get to talk. Now that you're all settled in, you probably like an 8-inch mattress instead of a 2-inch. You probably like 15-foot bedrooms than 8-foot cells. So you're probably getting accustomed to life out here. What's in store for you for the next 5 years? What are you thinking?
So at some point, well, right now I'm taking everything very slow.
Good, smart.
I'm not trying to jump on the hamster wheel as far as work yet, because I know that once that starts, I'm going to miss out on everything else. And I have family issues and things going on that kind of require my support at this time. And
Great.
I get to be this role now, something I've never done before. And so I'm trying to embrace this as well. I'm trying to take it as slow as I can, to be there for the people that are closest to me and that need me at the moment. And at the same time, I'm also able to volunteer a lot. So I'm in a training. I'm volunteering with some youth. I got to attend one of our GOGI Zoom meetings on a Tuesday night. I have one more week left of the trauma training. As soon as that's done, I'll be able to go back to
Great.
Zoom meetings. But in the next 5 years, so I'm enrolling back in college. I'm trying to get accepted at UC Berkeley now so that I can complete my bachelor's degree. That's part of my career development. At some point, I'm going to take a job. It'll be in the recovery field, I'm sure. But I do a lot of work with youth. And so everything's for me is shaping and pointing toward that, toward working with youth, because that prison or that high school or middle school to prison pipeline, that's a sadness that our community can really benefit from us figuring out how to sever it.
Absolutely. Yeah, for
And
sure.
the closer we can intervene before the kids go to juvie, that's if we can just put a stopper there somewhere. Don't go to juvie because then you don't go to prison, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And if we could figure out some way to intervene before juvie, not after, but before,
Yeah.
then maybe we can impact that somehow. And if GOGI's tools is a part of that, man, I think the kids really could benefit from GOGI.
And I think they could benefit the most from someone like you teaching them Gogi.
Man, how awesome would that be?
I think it's going to happen. I see that very clearly. We're finishing up our free book for youth. So it's kind of like my life story plus the GOGI Life Tools. It'll be a free downloadable PDF for anybody on earth to use in working with youth. So if you remind me, send me an email in a couple of weeks, we should have it done. And then you can print off as many copies as you want, give them to any youth you want. And I think they would enjoy reflecting on their life and setting a vision for the future, integrating some tools, just letting them feel how creative they can be with their life, how powerful they can be, and the positive choices that they can make.
Yeah, man, awesome. And so thank you for the kit that you just sent. I just received that before I left on Thursday. Awesome GOGI
Tell
stuff.
me the goodies that you got. What did you get in your goodies?
Man, well, some books and a book I hadn't even seen yet about what was the newest book? The GOGI Life Tools or something.
The building blocks or the mini?
Building block. Yes, the building blocks. I hadn't seen that one, didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Some bracelets, some power-up bracelets,
Yeah.
keychains, a couple different styles of keychains, and the pins, lapel pins or hat pins. The the little bookmarkers that
Yeah.
have the GOGI stuff on there.
Mhm.
And enough power up a GOGI Life Tools book to how to GOGI group. That was the how to GOGI groups, right? Book,
Yeah,
I
the
believe.
the GOGI group meeting manual.
Yes,
Huh?
yes.
Awesome. Well, if you need more supplies, you let me know. I know they're going to be in good hands.
Yeah, yeah, I
I'm
will.
so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Coach. And man, I can't even tell you thank you enough for no matter where I've been, you've always been supportive of me. And it's
And we had
yeah,
to
it's
track you down a couple of times, but we aren't going to let go of you. When we say GOGI for life, we mean it.
GOGI for life. Yeah.
All right, my friend. I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you so much. And whenever so this weekend, this weekend coming up is going to be my first time able to leave the county. So I'm getting to a point where they're going to allow me to go and do stuff
Great.
because it's not been 60 days yet for me, but I want to get down there closer. Is there a mailroom anymore? Is there going to be
Most of our work is done remote. Most everybody is doing it in their
okay?
own places, but we do gather. We gather either at a Denny's or somebody else's workspace, and we fill out all the letters and we pack up
Okay.
packages. So we do it more as a special event. But we would for certain have a special event if you were to come down to LA. That's for sure.
Well, let's figure it out and stay in contact and be able to put that on the calendar somewhere because that's definitely on my to-do list.
All right. Well, you have to name the time. You have to find out when you can get all the way down to LA, and we'll just wrap an event right around your arrival.
Okay. That's awesome.
All right, Papa Coach. I so appreciate you.
Yeah, so I thought we were meeting tomorrow. So this really was a surprise.
Really? I think it was tomorrow, but I made a mistake. It's today. Today's a better day anyway.
It is. Hey, thank you so much, Coach.
Always.
GOGI for life.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for continuing on with the good work. Ultimate freedom. Being free is up to me. Service keeps me free.
Yes.
You know it. Bye-bye, Papa Coach.
Thank you. Big air hugs.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm going to get one of those in real time one of these days soon.
Yes.
All right,
For
dear.
sure.
GOGI told me this, I got the tools to live by. GOGI, GOGI. GOGI told me this, I got the tools to live by. GOGI, GOGI. GOGI told me this, I got the tools to live by. GOGI, GOGI. GOGI told me this, I got the tools to live by. GOGI, GOGI. GOGI told me this, I got the tools to live by. GOGI, GOGI. GOGI told me this, I got the tools to live by. GOGI, GOGI. GOGI told me this, I got the tools to live by. GOGI, GOGI. GOGI told me this, I got the tools to live by. GOGI, GOGI. GOGI told me this, I got the tools to live by. GOGI, GOGI. GOGI told me this, I got the tools